Okay, here comes to the last 2 page, 1.5 page of Act 1 of your book. Like previous videos, I'm going to explain the difficult vocabulary first, and then I'll talk about the plot and characters. Okay, it's just 1.5 page, so let's take a look at page 25, the last part. That's when the inspector mentioned Daisy Renton and Gerald behaved strangely. And the inspector went to the drawing room to find Mr. and Mrs. Sperling, and Eric led the way, leaving in the dining room with only Sheila and Gerald. And so Sheila started to question Gerald about Daisy Renton. So let's take a look at the vocabulary first. There are some phrases and words I want you to know. On page 26, the first line, gave yourself away, gave yourself away. It means to reveal some secret and ideas unintentionally. So when Gerald heard about Daisy Renton, he was shocked, and all his little action gave himself away, meaning that his uneasiness, that he was feeling uncomfortable, all these little behavior revealed that he had hidden some secret. So those actions gave himself away, showing the secret. Okay, and next word, guilty. If you're guilty of something, it means you're responsible of some wrongdoing, or you've done something wrong and you're responsible for it, then you're guilty. And next word, hardly. Hardly means almost never, that you didn't do the thing hardly, do the things. So when Sheila said Gerald hardly came near her, meaning that Gerald almost didn't visit her at all. So that is hardly. And then continue on page 26. These are the phrases and words that I want you to know. Number 1, set eyes on. Gerald said that he didn't set eyes on the girl. So it means he didn't see the girl for almost 6 months. Okay. And then number 2, hysterically. Hysterically, it means crazily. Suddenly, she laughed crazily, hysterically. And then the next one, in the stage direction, it says she looked at him almost in triumph. Triumph means winning. It's like she has won the game. She defeated Gerald. And she was right. And then in the stage direction, the next word, crushed. Crushed. It means Gerald was defeated. He lost. So Sheila was right, Gerald was wrong. And then at that moment, the inspector returned, and he looked at Sheila and Gerald searchingly. It means he was examining them, checking on them, seriously and thoroughly, completely. So these are the words that I want you to know, and that's the end of Act 1. Okay, now let's take a look at the plot and the meaning of the script. Okay, so after the inspector left with Eric, leaving only Sheila and Gerald in the room, and Sheila tried to question Gerald, saying, "Well, Gerald?" And Gerald tried to smile. What does it mean? What does it imply? Remember, at that moment, Gerald was shocked, and he knew that he would be involved in this case. So he tried to smile and pretend he didn't know anything to cover the secret, to pretend that he was fine, he wasn't involved in the suicide case. And he tried to stay calm, replying, "Well, what, Sheila?" And of course, Sheila knew that Gerald knew this girl, so she insisted to question him. And you could see that on this page, page 25, Gerald denied twice. When Sheila asked her how he knew about Eva Smith, Gerald said he didn't. And then when Sheila asked her how he knew about Daisy Renton, Gerald denied one more time. He said he didn't. Why would he have known her? Until Sheila said, "Oh, don't be stupid." Sheila said Gerald had given himself away, revealed the secret when Gerald heard the inspector mentioned about Daisy Renton. All those little actions revealed the secret, betrayed him. And so Gerald knew that he couldn't hide from Sheila anymore. So he admitted, but he still didn't want Sheila to find out more about the relationship between Gerald and Daisy Renton, Eva Smith. So Gerald asked Sheila to stop asking more about his relationship with Daisy Renton. But Sheila said that it's no use, and she continued to question Gerald. Gerald didn't reply, and Sheila continued to talk because she finally realized it was last spring and summer that Gerald said he was busy and didn't come close to Sheila. That was when Gerald had a relationship with Eva, Daisy Renton. And Gerald didn't reply again. So twice on this page, Gerald didn't reply. And so it implies that he admitted the relationship between he and Daisy Renton. And so finally Sheila realized. And Gerald apologized, but he immediately said that he hadn't seen this girl for almost 6 months. So the dinner was in April 1912. If Gerald hadn't seen this girl for almost 6 months, it means Gerald ended the relationship with this girl, Daisy Renton, in September 1911. And because Gerald thought that he hadn't seen this girl for almost 6 months, so this girl's suicide had no relationship with him. And so Gerald begged Sheila not to mention anything to the inspector. And Sheila told Gerald that she thought she had no relationship with the suicide case as well, but realized that she actually was partly responsible for Eva's death as well. That's what Sheila thought. But Gerald disagreed. Gerald said neither of them was responsible for Eva's death, so they shouldn't say anything much to the inspector. But Sheila suddenly laughed crazily, hysterically, because she thought that Gerald was stupid, was a fool. Because Sheila knew that the inspector knew a lot about them already, more than they knew about themselves. So she just warned Gerald at the end, asking him to be careful. And so when the inspector returned from the drawing room, looking at Sheila and Gerald, the inspector said, "Well?" So this line actually responded to what Sheila just said, that the inspector knew everything. So actually the inspector did know a lot. He was just waiting Gerald to confess and admit the whole thing himself. That is the end of Act 1. And you can see that J.B. Priestley used a cliffhanger here at Act 1 to hook the audience, hoping all the audience or readers would want to read Act 2 immediately and to continue with the story. So that's the end of Act 1. So that's the end of Act 1, and if you still have anything that you're unsure, please ask me or please rewatch the videos again. And stay tuned, we're going to study Act 2 soon.